North Korea parades military might and warns U.S. amid fears of nuclear test. North Korea has held a vast military parade to celebrate the birth of its founding father, Kim Il-sung, as it warned it was prepared to take the toughest action unless the U.S. ended its military hysteria, with speculation growing that the regime is preparing to conduct a nuclear test. On a sunny Saturday morning in Pyongyang, military vehicles and tens of thousands of soldiers filled Kim Il-sung Square as a band played rousing military music, the instruments falling silent for oaths of loyalty to the country's leader, Kim Jong-un. Experts said the array of military hardware on show included what appeared to be a new intercontinental ballistic missile being carried along the streets of the capital on a huge truck. The Yonhap news agency quoted South Korean military officials as saying they had not seen the missile before and it appeared to be a new type of ICBM. North Korean state television showed what appeared to be several KN-08 and KN-14 missiles. Although they have yet to be tested, analysts say the missiles could one day be capable of hitting targets as far away as the U.S. mainland. Also on show for the first time were Pukgoksong submarine-launched ballistic missiles, which have a range of more than 1,000 kilometers, 600 miles. Experts said the display of multiple SLBMs indicated that North Korea was closer to being able to launch submarine-based missiles, which are harder to detect. It suggests a commitment to this program, said Joshua Pollack, the editor of the Washington-based Nonproliferation Review. Multiple SLBMs seems like a declaration of intent to advance the program. A senior North Korean official used the parade to accuse the U.S. of creating a war situation with the recent dispatch of warships to the region. We will respond to an all-out war with an all-out war and a nuclear war with our style of a nuclear attack, said Ko Ryong-ha, who is rumored to be the second most powerful politician in North Korea, during the parade. Kim, dressed in a black suit and white shirt and flanked by senior military and Workers' Party officials, applauded and occasionally smiled as he watched the tributes to his grandfather, who was born 105 years ago on Saturday. But the so-called Day of the Sun was clouded in uncertainty as the world waited to see if Kim Jong-un would provoke a potential regional crisis with what would be North Korea's sixth nuclear test in just over a decade, or a test launch of an ICBM. As the aircraft carrier USS Carl Vinson and its strike group sailed towards the peninsula in a show of force, North Korea's official KCNA news agency, citing a spokesman for the General Staff of the Korean People's Army, warned of merciless retaliation against any U.S. provocation. Donald Trump's decision to send an armada of warships to waters off the tense peninsula, coupled with recent U.S. strikes in Syria and Afghanistan, were proof that Washington had chosen the path of open threat and blackmail, KCNA said. Our toughest counteraction against the U.S. and its vassal forces will be taken in such a merciless manner so as not to allow the aggressors to survive, it added. It said the Trump administration's serious military hysteria had reached a dangerous phase that can no longer be overlooked, adding, under the prevailing grave situation, the United States has to come to its senses and make a proper option for the solution of the problem. As the parade unfolded in Pyongyang, China's state-run media said the U.S. president was mistaken if he believed piling military pressure on North Korea would resolve the regime's nuclear and ballistic missile programs. The Global Times said Trump's decision to drop the mother of all bombs on Afghanistan was clearly a new gimmick in U.S. military deterrence designed to intimidate Kim Jong-un. North Korea must have felt the shockwave traveling all the way from Afghanistan, the Communist Party-controlled newspaper said in an editorial. However, the newspaper said the use of such a vicious weapon was likely to make Pyongyang more determined to upgrade its own arsenal. Trump has demonstrated a certain level of obsession and pride toward U.S. military prowess, it said, adding that the U.S. president may go down in history as the war president. As North Korea's only ally and biggest trading partner, China has come under unprecedented pressure in recent days to use its influence to persuade Kim Jong-un not to risk conflict with a nuclear test or ballistic missile launch. On Friday, China again called for talks to defuse the crisis. We call on all parties to refrain from provoking and threatening each other, whether in words or actions, and not let the situation get to an irreversible and unmanageable stage, the Chinese Foreign Minister, Wang Yi, told reporters in Beijing. Speaking to Russia's Foreign Minister, Sergei Lavrov, on Friday night, Wang said steps were needed to prevent war and chaos on the Korean peninsula. U.S. officials have said the policy of strategic patience pursued by the Obama administration has ended, after years of diplomatic pressure and international sanctions failed to slow North Korea's progress towards developing nuclear missiles capable of striking the U.S. mainland, a milestone some experts believe is only years away. In echoes of the bellicose rhetoric that reverberated around the Korean peninsula during its last major crisis in spring 2013, KCNA said North Korea would respond in kind to any perceived U.S. military provocation. Referring to the country by its official title, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, it warned, the army and people of the DPRK will as ever courageously counter those who encroach upon the dignity and sovereignty of the DPRK, and will always mercilessly ravage all provocative options of the U.S. with Korean-style toughest counteraction. In a commentary published after the parade ended, China's official news agency, Xinhua, said the region was at a critical moment in history and a preemptive U.S. strike could trigger full-scale war. It was time for North Korea and the U.S. to strike a grand bargain, Xinhua said.